Hey guys, TekGeekHD here again with another video, and this is the review of the DJI Phantom 4. I've been teasing this on Instagram all summer, and it's finally here, so let's go ahead and get straight on into it. The Phantom 4 is DJI's latest consumer drone. With an upgraded 4K camera from the Phantom 3 Professional, the biggest design change to its chassis it's ever had, a 3.1 mile range, a ton of tap-to-fly and tracking features, increased speed in the new sport mode, and obstacle avoidance, this is also DJI's most feature-packed drone ever. As I always do, let's start with the build. Especially in the case of a drone that's flying multiple hundred feet in the air, you want something that's well built, and the Phantom 4 definitely is. It has a magnesium-reinforced hard-shell polycarbonate body, which feels great. It's dense, strong, and confidence-inspiring, all while being ultra-lightweight. This thing will definitely take a few drops and come out just fine. Casey Neistat could probably attest to that. The gimbal is also now built into the body and doesn't hang off of it, susceptible to damage like it did in older Phantom versions. This also leads to the Phantom 4's unibody design, which looks great. If Apple designed a drone, this is probably what it would look like. The rotors now also have a new locking mechanism as well. Instead of the old twist-on design, these lock into place with a satisfying click. DJI said they needed to create a more secure way of mounting them to the motors for the increased flight speed in sport mode on the Phantom 4. This new locking mechanism, while secure, could also be a major problem. Since it's predominantly plastic, it has the potential to break, and the first DJI Phantom 4 unit that I received had exactly this problem. It was broken, probably by a reviewer who had the unit before I did. This is definitely concerning because if it were to break in flight, the rotor could pop off and seriously injure anyone in its vicinity. It's something DJI needs to address. The camera also comes with a plastic piece to secure it during travel. While a small addition to the package, it really helps inspire confidence in the transport and storage of the drone when not in flight. And I tend to keep mine on the camera from the minute the drone lands to just before the next flight. Let's actually talk a little bit more in depth about the camera now, since it's one of the most important parts of the drone. The best way for me to talk about the camera is to first tell you what's changed from the Phantom 3 Professional, which already had an amazing camera. DJI claims to have reduced the chromatic aberration by 56%, and has reduced lens distortion by 36%. I find this to be especially true in barrel distortion, which even when close to a subject is close to negligible as compared to footage I've reviewed from the Phantom 3 Professional. Apart from the 12 megapixel camera receiving other lens improvements, the Phantom 4 is also now capable of shooting 120 FPS slow-mo video in 1080p. But this does bring the camera's field of view down to 47 degrees from its regular wide-angle 94 degrees. The camera quality is downright amazing for a drone, and in general is great. Noticeable noise only starts to creep in at around 4000 ISO, and for the most part doesn't totally destroy the image. It does make the shadows smudgy, but nothing that can't be fixed in post. In good or even decent lighting conditions, the camera does a great job of taking high quality raw photos with a ton of detail. My favorite shots are taken directly overhead. They don't have the curved fisheye effect on the sides like drones with GoPros mounted on them do, and they just look great. The video is even better. The Phantom 4 shoots silky smooth 4K video with its 1/2.3-inch sensor, which is a 35mm equivalent for anyone who is wondering. The best way for me to demonstrate the video quality is to show you, so here's some sample footage I've taken over the last few weeks. That was just a little sample of the kind of video you can expect out of the Phantom 4. And keep in mind, I've only had mine for a few weeks. With more time and better editing skills, the quality you can produce out of this thing is amazing. As for photographs, showing them up here on a YouTube video would do them no justice, So I've included a link to a full resolution gallery of some images I've taken from the Phantom 4 in the description of the video, and you can also find a lot of them shared to my Instagram, also linked in the description. One major new highlight of the Phantom 4 is its obstacle avoidance system, which is just one of many iterative improvements found throughout the Phantom 4 which make it the perfect first drone. DJI's mission is to get as many of these into the hands of people as possible, and the best way to do that is through longevity. No one wants to wait for repairs, so avoiding the collisions as best as possible keeps that to a minimum. The Phantom 4 has improved downwards facing ultrasonic sensors, as well as brand new front facing sensors, which sense an object and stop a safe distance away from it, or if you're in tap to fly mode, then it flies over the obstacle and continues on its path to the designated distance. This is a really cool feature of the Phantom 4. It makes it much safer than older models, and a blessing for first-time pilots. Another interesting feature that also benefits first-time pilots are the new tap to fly features. The name implies what it does. All you do is tap on a place in your viewfinder, and the Phantom smoothly glides over there, avoiding all obstacles in its path. The active track feature also allows you to select a subject, and the Phantom 4 intelligently locks onto it and follows the subject in motion. I've even tried this in a car, and it's pretty accurate up to about 30 miles an hour. There are also a host of other intelligent features, as well as setting up the drone to orbit a specified subject to get amazing cinematic shots that would otherwise take a skilled pilot to perform. All these and more are just clear indications that DJI really wants new first-time drone owners on board its platform, and makes professional features easily accessible to newcomers. For professionals who can take the risks of turning off assisted obstacle avoidance systems, DJI has also now included a blazing fast sport mode, which allows the Phantom 4 to hit speeds of up to 45 miles an hour, which is insanely impressive for a drone of this size. It becomes very agile because of the increased motor speed in this mode, but the sharp banking forward can lead to the rotors showing up at the top of the frame when filming in sport mode sometimes, and this is something to keep in mind. For people familiar with the controller, and it's pretty easy to pick up and learn, the controller is actually quite capable. It has two antennas up front, a mount for a cell phone or tablet, and two thumbsticks, as well as a return to home button, which when pressed will tell the Phantom 4 to return to the point it took off from. This is especially useful if your viewfinder is dying, or you've lost the light bridge connection and just want the drone to return safe and sound. The mount is secure and will hold the tablet up to the size of an iPad Air. I've been using it with my iPhone 6, which has been great, but the bigger display, the better. The Phantom 4 beams a 720p stream using Lightbridge technology, which works most of the time, but sometimes conked off and made me pretty anxious of the drone's whereabouts and condition. The Phantom 4 is electronically limited out of the box to a height of 400 feet in the air, which for me has been plenty, but can go unobstructed to a distance of 3.1 miles or 5 kilometers. This does however depend on where you're flying it. The only time I ever lost a signal was less than a half mile away, but I live in a city amidst a lot of stuff which could get in the way of the controller's signal, and it does. When the drone did disconnect, it only took a few seconds for it to automatically engage the return to home feature, which is definitely one of my favorite failsafe features of the drone. From a little under a half mile away to back in the vicinity of a few feet of its takeoff point, the Phantom 4 was back in just over a minute. When in return to home mode, the drone flies facing forward and engages the obstacle avoidance features so as to avoid anything that could get in its way on a safe journey home. The DJI Go application is also well designed. It packs a lot of information including signal strength, distance, a live GPS feed, and IMU status, as well as height. It also lets you change camera settings such as the ISO, shutter speed, image size, and format all on the fly, which is very useful. The app and the Phantom 4 are constantly receiving firmware upgrades, most of which address bugs, but even within my short time of owning it, new features were added. One of them is the ability to stream live to Facebook. This is a really cool feature, easy to set up, and makes sharing the drone flight live with your friends and family around the world a breeze. All of this saves to the microSD card you insert in the Phantom 4. This is another area that was a little bit faulty for me, however. The second Phantom DJI sent me, after the rotor connector repair, would simply not read the microSD card. I tried everything, formatting it on multiple computers in different formats, trying to insert it and format it on the Phantom, and I even ordered another card. But the issue was with the Phantom, and once again it had to be sent back to DJI for a replacement. I did speak to DJI and they did acknowledge older customer support issues, but they have also been working hard constantly to improve and increase the quality and outreach of their customer support infrastructure, adding new ways for customers to reach out to DJI in a variety of languages and at centers all around the world to get access to advice, information, and support as efficiently as possible. Battery life is also important when considering a drone because it affects flight time and thus capability directly. The Phantom 4 comes with a 5350 mAh battery, which takes about an hour to charge and lasted me about 25 minutes, which is the best I've got, despite DJI's 28-minute claim. This is affected directly by what mode you're in. Being in sport mode, for example, will cut this time drastically, but with careful flying, I don't doubt that it could reach the 28-minute mark that DJI says it can. Outside of all the technical innovations and specifications, the DJI Phantom 4 is the kind of device that for a creative individual like myself has opened up so many doors into the world of aerial photography and cinematography. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, and DJI have definitely sold me with this. I want one. Bad. And that's the best recommendation I can give to a product. I can look beyond its minor faults to see its true capability and potential. And if you can muster up the $13.99 for one of these, I highly recommend it for anyone in the market for their first drone or an upgrade from a Phantom 3 or below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please remember to like it and share it with your friends, and remember to subscribe for more reviews. I'll make sure to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.